Hello, this is Scott Hooks, and I'm here with my friend, Evangelist Scott Pauley. And we thought it might be helpful just to spend a few minutes and talk to all of you about the REST Conference coming up September 2nd through the 4th, 2024, here at the Tabernacle Baptist Church in Hickory, North Carolina. We began the REST Conference in 2018 with a burden to be an encouragement and a blessing to pastors and Christian workers, and also to their wives. And so I'm going to let Scott just say a word and tell us a little bit about how all of this got started.
First of all, I'm really happy to be here in your study. This is nice. And these people do an amazing job hosting this meeting every year. You want Christian hospitality, Tabernacle Baptist Church knows how to do it. And Pastor Hooks and his people are always such a blessing. Brother Scott and I have been friends for a long time, centuries it feels like, but decades it has been. We labored together at the Temple Baptist Church and had the same burden, I would say, and that was to try to help preachers. And I really feel like Pastor Sexton helped foster that in both of us. He had a passion to try to help ministers, and he taught us, if you help the preacher, you help everybody the preacher ministers to. And so as an evangelist, of course, I'm with lots of preachers. And we started talking years ago about what could we do to encourage some men and their wives, which I think is one of the unique things about rest. And we started praying. What can we do? What should the emphasis be? And God led us to a verse from my favorite gospel record, Mark chapter 6, verse number 31, where Jesus spoke to his disciples, and he said unto them, "Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place, and rest a while. For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat." I think sometimes preachers have too much leisure. That's possible.
It is.
But most preachers who are doing something for the Lord, I think probably live in the second part of that verse, no leisure. And for me, I've had to learn, if I don't have some healthy distractions, I will develop unhealthy ones. And every now and then, you just have to disconnect.
Right.
And you disconnect to reconnect. And so we took the first part of this verse, "Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place and rest a while." It is a beautiful thing that the Lord does great things in desert places. And everybody needs a time to recharge and to have their spirit renewed, the times of refreshing that come from the presence of the Lord. For me, as a preacher, I had to learn I need preaching too.
Right.
I mean, you got to take it in. If you're not careful, you're drawing out of an empty well, and that doesn't work. And so we really captured this word rest. And I was looking, Brother Scott, the other day at this, "Come ye yourselves apart." I mean, it's something they had to do.
Right.
You have to make yourself disconnect, don't you?
You do.
That's easier said than done.
Very much so.
But tell us the rest. We took that as the theme, but that stands for something. It's not just nap time for preachers, right?
Right. Well, and the rest that we find is not necessarily the absence of the work.
Right.
But it's in the presence of the Lord.
Amen.
And so coming apart to the Lord in his presence and finding our rest in him. And we took the word rest as an acronym: refresh, encourage, strengthen, and train.
Right.
And so we want this time to be a time of refreshment for pastors and for their wives. And you and I have been in a lot of meetings for pastors and staff members, missionaries. But we wanted to do something also to encourage the wives, because a lot of times wives they're obviously involved in the ministry with their husbands, but there's not a lot of opportunities for fellowship and encouragement for them. So we want to make sure we emphasize that as well. And just have pastors and their wives, staff workers, other Christian workers, evangelists, missionaries, to come together with their wives and be encouraged. And there's no agenda behind any of this other than to learn the necessity of of spending time with the Lord and being strengthened in the work God's called us to do.
I've had a lot of people ask me in different places, what is unique about rest? There are a lot of great conferences, and I have the opportunity to be in a lot of them, and I love them. My answer to that question has been twofold. Number one, this is not just for preachers. It is for preachers and their wives. So I think you hit on the first thing.
Right.
It's almost like a couples retreat for people in ministry, because there's built-in downtime, time to be together, be with other couples. And, honestly, most preachers, they either host a couples gathering or they take their church couples somewhere, and there's still an element of work in that.
Right.
So this is an opportunity to bring your spouse. You don't have to do that, of course. Some people, their whole staff comes, but I think that's unique. The other thing that I think is unique is that this is not a preaching conference, though we have some preaching. There's more Bible teaching in it, and it's not a how-to conference. So this is not primarily concentrating on the work aspect of ministry. It's really concentrated on the inner man.
Exactly.
Of the preacher. You keep your heart with all diligence out of it of the issues of life. So really what we're concentrating on every year when we choose a theme is something related to our prayer life, our own time in the Word, our healthy homes and marriages, learning to rejoice even in difficulty. Those kinds of things are really what we're aiming at.